Welcome back. You are now looking at Google Calendar, and you access Google Calendar by going to your web browser, writing in calendar in the search bar, and you'll see a result at the top or near the top that says Google Calendar. If you click that Google Calendar, it will take you to the application. It's likely that you're already aware of the calendar's basic function, or you're likely to have used the calendar. The question is, how can you use the calendar to collaborate and to work with others so that you might be able to complete projects as well as to complete tasks? And to do that, we are going to go into the settings area, and it works much the same as some of the other applications. You'll go to the gear, and then you're going to click settings. The one thing to note is that you can change the default view from the week to the month or whatever you would like to look at whenever you open your Google Calendar. The other thing to be aware of is that you can have all of the events from Gmail automatically added to your Google Calendar. And this is actually done by default, and you would actually have to turn it off to change this. So all of your events from Gmail will be added, and that will actually control all of the other applications that you are actually going to be working with. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the calendar tab, which means we'll go to the very top. We're going to click calendars. And what you're going to notice is that you have a calendar that is going to be your name, and this will be your default calendar. And that's the one that we were actually looking at when we first entered Google Calendar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click share this calendar. Now there are some important considerations to make. You can actually make your calendar public, and this will be public to the entire internet, and this would allow you to make your calendar an appointment calendar so that you can actually show people when you are free or busy, and they can actually schedule an appointment. So you can do that by making your calendar public and then choosing only to share the free or busy information. This would hide the details of your calendar from the public. Now you can choose to keep your calendar private, but what you can do is you can share your calendar with a specific individual whom you want to manage the calendar for you. And this is where you gain productivity. You can actually put that person's email in there, and you should actually use their Gmail address when you do that. And we're going to go ahead and type an address in there. Now before we add the individual, we want to take a look at where we want to give them permissions. And if we use the drop down arrow, you'll notice that we can actually create a calendar where we can allow someone to make changes and manage sharing. So if you have a virtual assistant that's going to be managing your Google Calendar, you can actually give them full control over the events. You can actually have someone only make changes to events, or you can make it so that they can only see your events. If you want someone to have full control and to manage the calendar, you'll want to default to make changes and manage sharing. When you click save or add person, that person will then be added to your calendar. And you'll see that here. And when that person opens their email, they'll get an invitation stating that they've been invited to manage the calendar. Now all they'll have to do then is just go to click the link to view the actual calendar. That person then will be able to look at your calendar. They'll be able to go to a specific appointment, and they can actually make an appointment for you. So in this particular case, we could make it so that the person could write in an appointment, and they can then add that event to your calendar. We're going to go ahead and click edit event, and then you'll see that on the calendar that we have been working on. We're going to have that event added. Now it's placed on the calendar of the person who's actually going to be managing your calendar. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the calendar as if it were yours. And you'll notice now that that event is now on your calendar with an event that has been created by a person who is managing your calendar. In looking at the settings area, there are two other items that we'll want to note. The first is that you'll see that there is a calendar called Get Productive with G-Tools 1. This is actually the classroom application that we were working with earlier in this course. That means that all of the events that we create will be added to our Google Calendar when we actually look at it. And we can either control those notifications or we can add them. The same is going to be true with the person that we are working with. So you can actually ask or request that the person who is going to be working with you in your Google Classroom, that they would actually use their Google Calendar so that they would be able to look at the same calendar you are. Once again, being able to look at the same calendar and work from it will allow you to be more productive. Finally, we're also going to go to the Labs tab. And in looking at the Labs tab, we can use any number of different aspects of Google Calendar that we actually use on a daily basis. Finally, there is a detailed section on our main calendar, which we can look at by going into that particular calendar. We can write in a description in case it is going to be shown to the search results. There are calendar addresses and private addresses that we can actually share, or that we can actually access the calendar from the web. We can export the calendar, and also we can embed the calendar on a website. So in this particular case, we can actually take our entire calendar, pick up the embed code, copy it, and then post it to a website like WordPress. So for example, we can actually take that embed code. We can make sure that it lands in the area that says text in WordPress, where we can actually put HTML, where we are allowed to place HTML code. We're going to write in calendar, and then we're going to place our embed code. We're going to click publish, and then we can view our post with our Google Calendar. And you'll notice our calendar is now on our website. So again, if you wanted to make your calendar public, or you wanted to allow others to place appointments, or if you wanted to keep it semi-private, you could actually do that. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.